The role of product managers has fundamentally changed. Today, it's no longer enough to just write PRDs and hand it over to engineering team. The best product leaders understand the tech stack, understand the constraints, and can rapidly prototype their vision to prove its value. Hi, I am Mayur Kakkad. I'm a product builder with total 15 years of experience, out of which 5 years dedicated specifically to 0 to 1 product building. Recently, I've been using quite AI studio platforms with the help of vibe coding to develop multiple products to bridge the gap between ideation and execution. Today, I'll be demonstrating my fully functional product called as FinSense AI mobile application, which is mobile first automated financial tracker. I choose to build this financial tracker majorly for two reasons. First is if we look it from a organizational knowledge perspective or education perspective, each and everything is being secured and well taught. So let's take an example of an organization where we need to keep the bookkeeping accurate, accounting records accurate from debit, credit, and all. These are all being taken care through our education. But when it comes to personal financial literacy, there is no prescribed education format that is available. And also, on top of that, if we as an individual need to gain insights and full control on our financial numbers, we need to get in touch to a CA who then further analyzes our income, expenditure, and then guides us. Second major reason was because of bad spending habits, which are realized only when, as an individual, when you commit some blunder mistakes. So just think of it a time as till date, you might be sometime in a situation where you thought, okay, this investment that I did or this expenditure that I did might be a very blunder mistake which I have done and should not have done. That's when you realize the importance of financial literacy. But realizing the importance of financial literacy after the mistake is committed is something which was not something which I felt right, and that's the reason I built this FinSense AI application. So let's quickly look at it into the application. So I'll share my phone screen. So on screen you can see the app icon with the FinSense AI. So as soon as I open it, it will show a splash screen, and after the splash screen, it will show onboarding coach marks, which will showcase the offerings of the application, which is AI powered insights, then automated tracking. As a user, I can either scroll or click on next. I have purposely kept the skip button on top right because I want the user to read each and every information on the screen. So I'll click on next. It also has a smart dip planner, which I'll walk you through. So let's get started. As soon as I click on get started, first is agreeing to the terms and conditions. So as soon as I click on this terms and conditions hyperlink, you could see uh, the terms and conditions are clearly mentioned in a very simplistic manner as to build the trust of the user with the application, because trust is the critical factor. And these terms and conditions very beautifully explain which kind of information is captured, how it is captured, where it is processed, and if at all it is stored. So let's move on. So on the other screen also I've kept the terms and conditions so that if a user wishes to revisit and check it or download it, they can do it. So I'll enter my name, I'll enter the mobile number, and I'll hit send OTP. I'll receive verification code, which I'll enter it over here, which is 716004. 716004. I'll hit verify. Yeah. So this is the SMS auto sync notification screen. So if you notice the onboarding flow, because we are asking SMS access, trust is critical. I explicitly designed this SMS screen and the terms of service to clearly communicate why we need this data and how is it processed securely. Okay. Once user opts in and clicks on enable auto sync, default Android OS permission pop-up will appear, and after that you can set up an 4-digit pin. Because it is a financial data, security is first and foremost important thing to do. So I'll set up a pin. Now this is the dashboard. Since this is work in progress, I've done a manual setting so that I have to paste the API key manually so that I keep a track of my expenses. But as a user perspective, as soon as 4-digit pin is set, user will land on the screen, and from this screen user will get to know that their SMS is been fetched. By the time this SMS is fetched, let me walk you through of what is happening in the background technically. So I have implemented a method called as regex, which is regular expressions. What it does is, as soon as SMS transactions access is given, it classifies the SMS into two parts. Part 1, which are non-financial, part 2, which are financial, which are more important for this application to work. After the classification of part 2 is done, from the financial SMS, it will categorize the debit and credit and add an expense category to those expenses. Now, since this is a first time user, the logic of this application is, as a first time user in the current month, on or before 25th of this month, if you are opening the app for the first time, it will start to fetch the transactions in a descending order, latest first till the last month. But if as a first time user you're opening the app after the 25th of the current month, then it will only fetch the transactions for the current month starting from the latest first transactions. Since it is a bit time consuming activity for the first time, uh, I have implemented an interesting fact section which you could see below sinking June, which is using less than 30%. So it shows very interesting facts, which is inflation slowly erodes purchasing power, so that user is engaged and user knows that there's a background process happening and is not stuck. So by the time this is happening, user can still scroll and get a gist of what all offerings are there. So let me quickly walk you through the notification. As soon as you land onto the dashboard, you'll get to see this notification. Either you can click on the bin icon to delete this or go back and just simply slide to delete it. You will have an undo option available only for 5 seconds. Now, if you look at the home page, this syncing card will disappear as soon as the financial transactions are successfully fetched based on the date of first time login for the user. Below that, there's a total balance card, which gives a holistic summary of monthly spent, your bills, and upon successful SMS fetching and categorization, this add my current available balance button will become active. Below that, we have a cash transaction, which is nothing but any transaction which was not a part of your banking transactions and you might have received in the form of cash, that you can add it over here. Then we have this AI insights, which I'll take you in later. And then we have a talk with AI financial chatbot assistant. This is the prime most important key feature of this application, which I'll walk you through once all this syncing is done. Below that, we have a holistic view of your spending summary. So if you see, this is spending by category card, And if you see, it is denoted by a pie chart with the legacy expense categories. So if I were to, so you can see for the month of July, the total expenses are 2,28,390.21. However, out of this, the breakup of this total amount is mentioned in this legacy headings, which is health, travel, others, utility, and so on. Now, if I click on others, which is 9%, and if I wish to see the amount, so I just click on this others and it will show me the amount in the pie chart. So, and you can vice versa also use it. So on the base of pie chart color, you can simply click on the pie chart coloring and you'll get to know what kind of expense it is and what is the exact amount of it. And also there's a drop down to change the month and look at it. Below that, you will be able to see five transactions, recent five transactions. And these are my recent five transactions that I've done. If as a user I wish to see all the detailed transactions, then I'll simply either click on this view all button or I'll click on the activity button. These both will take me at the same place. Now, since it is fetching the transactions for June, let us go to the activity screen. And here in the activity screen, you will be able to see all the transactions for a month. You'll be able to see the monthly spent and the amount received. So here you can see these are all, a few of these records are dummy records which I've added. Just got a toast message, financial transactions fetched successfully, meaning the transaction fetching activity is complete. And here you can see, please click this fetch to the latest SMS. So this sync icon will always try to look for new transactions as a repeat user. Moving back to the activity screen. So here there are two tabs, transactions and advance payments. Advance payments tab is for the extra payments that you do as a user against your ongoing loans, which I'll walk you through in later time. And here you could see there are chips, date chip, amount chip, expense category, and so on. So at times you remember the amount, but you don't remember the date. So let's say I remember I spent 100 rupees, but which are those that you will be able to see it. And now here you could see 100 rupees I've spent in June 8 times. That is why it is showing as 800 spent based on my latest amount entered here. Likewise, you can use this expense category just to check how much spending was done on health, how much was done on fuel, and likewise. So I'll just simply go on expense category and I'll walk you through other chips, which is all payments. So payment sent and payment received. So likewise, you could do this. Now, if I go to payment mode, you can also filter by payment transactions, right? And these are IM-based transfers. So this gives me total control of my expenditure. Okay, and I can also look for the date. Let's say I'll check for 16th, which is this, and I can clear the filter. Now I'll walk you through the next feature, which is bills. In bills, I'll add like light bill, and I'll add the amount as 2,500, which is due on every third of the month, and I'll hit save. As soon as I go back to home, besides the monthly spent, it will show me the bills. And as soon as I start adding a number of bills, it will start to add it over here and show the cumulative amount. Now let's try adding a loan. So let's say I'm adding a home loan, which is of 75 lakh, and the balance is, let's say, 70 lakh with an EMI of 74,000 with an interest of 9.5. Let's say for a 25 years, EMI date is 10th of every month. Here it will generate immediately a loan card wherein I'll get to know the details. It is a home loan, 74,000 is the EMI with 9.1, and it is 91% paid. remaining is 70 lakh. Let me check. So current balance is only 7 lakh, right? Now if I click on here, let me change the amount to 70 lakh and show you the details. Now it is changed to 7%. So here if I add like an extra monthly payment consistently of 3,500, it will help me show how much interest I can save, which is 6,28,428 rupees, and the time saved is 16 months. And here's a payoff projection also. So on month one, which is the starting month of 3,500 extra payment, the balance will be this. After 6 months, this is the balance, and so on. It will give a complete trajectory of your last month and the balance with a disciplined repayment tip. This will come in very handy when you're planning to close an existing loan. Now let's uh, do one more thing, which is add one more loan. Let's say a car loan of 15 lakh with a balance of 10 lakh with an EMI of 13,000 with 10% interest rate for 15 years and save it, right? And again, here you can do that same formula. You can just increase 1,500 and it will show you how much interest you have saved, right? Now, if I go again to the activity card and here advance payment. So as soon as I click on advance payment, it will ask me like your the payment that you've done advance is against which loan? Is it against home or loan, car loan? So let's say car loan. I paid, let's say, 70,000 extra EMI on 15th of this month. So it will show that additional 1,14,000 interest is saved based on 70,000 extra payment. Likewise, these two tabs, transactions are all transactions, financial transactions, and advance payment will keep a track record of all your loan payments. Moving on to the AI inside screen. So there are two ways to go. One is through the button and another is through the bottom navigation. So as soon as you click, it will generate an AI summary, which is spending summary, loan closure summary, and on the basis of SMS fetching, it will also identify your EMI amounts, and also it will give you a predicted trajectory of how your upcoming expenses look like and the smart advice with a AI first disclaimer. Now moving back to the home screen, and the most prominent feature is your chatbot. So as soon as you click here, it will show a disclaimer first, which is essential. And as soon as user accepts the disclaimer, this is the first screen that appears on the chatbot screen. And here I can ask like, how can I close my car loan in 2 years? And let's see the response. So by the time like it's responding, you could also see that on top there's a disclaimer. I have shown it here. Since even though AI capabilities are enhancing day by day, it becomes critically important that we make our users aware about the intricacies and also about the challenges of AI hallucination. So here at the bottom of every response, you could see that there's a disclaimer that will appear. Now let's look at the response and see. So here, if you see, it has given a very detailed response. 2 year, which is 24 months. Number one, what it takes is 9,30,000 interest rate. Current EMI is 13,000, which should be like needed to do an extra payment of 30,000 every month, which is 29,900. So it has given a very brief, detailed summary of how to tackle it. Since this is a basic setup, it will only allow to ask you three questions. So I'll just close this. After three questions, it will show that free tier allowed only 3 questions per month. I'll close this, I'll go back and I'll click on the profile icon. Here you can upload the picture and the existing subscription model. So as soon as I click on tooltip, it will show me that uh, this free tier basic setup offers limited AI chat history, limited history of financial records, which is last 2 months. No disciplinary goal control, which is a new feature which will only be available for our pro subscription users, and the ad supported experience. Now, as a user, if I'm willing to check what pro subscription offers, I'll simply click over here and it will give a holistic comparison of what are the offerings of pro versus the free. And as soon as I click on yes, I'm interested. Now, here's the catch. Uh, as a user, I should be able to relate to the amount of payment that I'm doing towards pro subscription. So here I've given predefined option as well as I've given an option for user to enter. So as soon as user submits the response will be tracked by amplitude, and it will help me analyze the overall response of all the users and compare what are the insights which users are okay to pay the amount for. Apart from that, there's a dark theme also associated to it. You can change the theme. Definitely you can go to profile and then remove the login pin authentication, and if I scroll down we have given an option to delete account, which will delete all the transaction records from our DB. And here's an option for terms and conditions and also an option to submit the feedback, and you can type in and submit it. Now let's talk a bit about the tech stack and technical discussion in depth. So as a product builder, choosing the right tech stack is about balancing speed to market, scalability, and user experience. Here is what I chose for FinSense AI and why. Firstly, I chose front-end core, which is React plus TypeScript. I chose React with White for a highly responsive single-page application. TypeScript was non-negotiable, which I was not aware until I researched it with the help of AI. Enforcing strict type safety prevents runtime errors and makes the code base highly scalable for future engineering handoffs, which is a non-negotiable item in these days. Styling Tailwind CSS, which is to achieve the clean Google-like material aesthetics without the overhead of heavy component libraries and all. On top of this, for the AI financial chatbot, I have used Google's Gemini 3.5 Flash for the generative AI capabilities, and I specifically choose Flash because of the financial coaching requires low latency, real-time responses, and it powers both transaction categorization and also the conversational AI chatbot. Keeping all this in mind, at every required spots, we have tried to educate and convey users that data privacy and storage is local first architecture. What does it means? Meaning financial data is highly sensitive, and instead of we storing it at our DB, it is locally been handled at client side storage using the strict regex, which is regular expression mechanism, and the data is processed securely, which also has helped me in reducing cloud API costs. So I'll make a closing note over here by saying that, like, building FinSense AI wasn't just an exercise in coding. It was an exercise in extreme product ownership by being technically sound on top of our standard product manager responsibilities. By understanding the architecture from how the capacitor wrapper handles native Android permissions. The walkthrough that was done was definitely an app perspective walkthrough, but I have designed this platform by a web-based, web-centric platform. It is just a capacitor wrapper that I've used so that it handles native Android permissions and works as an app. Because for me, I had a vision to scale it further even more and just not tightly couple it to an just a product application on Play Store or App Store. I can have a deeper, more. I also felt that the application or the product should be in a way so that I can have a deeper, more empathetic conversations with engineering teams. I don't just ask why is this taking so long. I try to understand the constraints of the APIs that we are using. I'm looking for my next opportunity to bring this level of technical fluency, user centric design, and relentless execution to a forward thinking product team. If you're looking for a product leader, product builder who doesn't just manage products and manage backlogs, but actively builds them, let's connect. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.